Hello everyone, I'm the Weather Dude. Welcome back, and today, for our third video today, we're going to be talking about tropical waves that are developing off the coast of Africa and the potential for them to form into a tropical storm, maybe potentially our B, C, or even D named storm over the next few days. Before I continue on with the video though, be sure to like and subscribe as always, as it does help my channel grow a lot. Thank you guys so much for the support recently, and we're just going to get right into it. Now, after this video, I did actually do, for my other two videos for today, Invest 92L and 93L, which is now Tropical Depression 2. So be sure to go check those two out as well. But we're going to get into it. So obviously, we have our other systems right here, Tropical Depression 2. All right, we got Invest 92L, but we're going to focus on a newly recognized disturbance by the National Hurricane Center. This is a vigorous tropical wave, or a strong tropical wave, that's off the coast of Africa right now. And it's going to be making its way towards the west, potentially towards the Atlantic. Now, I think after 5 or 6 days, I think the development chances do go down, or at least the probability of it sustaining its strength might go down because of dry air and shear. But it could develop potentially in time for it to hit the Caribbean, because if you were to extend this cone, not that all systems track in a straight line, but if you were to extend that cone, I'd say the Lesser Antilles are in line, but I wouldn't say it's an imminent danger for you guys yet. So 20% chance of development within the next 5 days, only 10% within the next 2 days. So again, strong tropical wave just offshore of West Africa. We got shower and thunderstorm activity. We could see development over the next few days, but again, that's before dry air and strong upper level winds or shear limit any chance of formation by late week. So maybe Friday, Saturday time frame. All right, so there's your development chances right there. And here's the satellite picture of it. As you can see, it's not very organized, but let's just say there's a lot of convection. And realize it is June. Like, it's June. Like, you really don't see, like, tropical disturbances form off of Africa too often, right? That's usually, like, July, August, September, October, all right? So this is definitely, I'd say, a little bit abnormal. I mean, it's not like we've never seen it before, but it's definitely abnormal. And you can see a little rotating area of big convection right there off the coast of Africa. Now, the thing what's increasing this development chances of this is it's south of the 10N line. And what do I mean by that? Well, this is the latitude line. Latitude is horizontal and longitude is vertical, but here's 10 degrees north. You can see the system is south of that. Now, usually, storms that come off the coast of Africa that develop, especially when you'll see later on this year, they're usually between 10 and 20 degrees north. So they're kind of like in this zone. Obviously, that's where our MDR is, but it's south of that. Now, you might think, well, is that really good or is that bad? Because that might go towards South America. Well, no, because for one, it's actually moving in a west-northwest direction. So most likely, as of right now, it probably avoid South America. But the water temperatures are warmer south of the 10-degree north line, right? You can see the sea surface temperatures are 1 to 2 degrees Celsius above average. And even if it were to continue its trek, still above average waters all the way, right? And this is our NOAA sea surface temperature anomaly map, right? So again, like the other two systems, 92L, 93L, and this one, all three of these sea surface temperatures are not a problem. That is not the obstacle. All right. Now, let's continue on with the actual sea surface temperatures, and that's when you can really see this is where the storm is right now. Usually the storms are like kind of like up here. All right, but you can see because it's farther south like that, I'd say sea surface temperatures are pushing 28, 29, maybe even I'd say around there, 28 or 29. Celsius. So that's about mid-80s, and you'll see that a little bit later coming up. All right, so we got very warm ocean temperatures, as you can see, and then if it were to continue on that trek, pretty much staying in the yellow zone, which is at least 78-degree waters, and I think the waters will actually be warmer than that. So here is the dry air. All right, we talked about this with the other systems. We're talking about it with this one as well. The dry air, as you can see, there's a system right here, very big too, can I add? I mean, it's a very large system, and the northern extent of it is 15 degrees north latitude, and the southern extent of it, I'd say, goes down maybe to near the equator, or maybe north of that. So it's a very large tropical wave, right? And you can see in this zone, there's really no dry air. It's until it hits this zone. And even here, the dry air, I mean, there's a lot of it, but it's a little bit patchy. There's some cracks in it, if you will. All right, so the dry air, I'm not saying it's going to fade away, but I would say the system definitely has time in this zone to develop over the next 5 days. Now, these systems do typically move pretty fast, so that's something we have to watch as well, because the faster it moves, the faster it can hit the dry air and the shear, and the faster it would weaken. So that's something we have to watch too, is the storm speed. Now, looking at the wind shear, You can't really see the storm where it is currently. It's kind of off map. There's some, I'd say, low to moderate wind shear, but notice how if it were to track this way, all right, actually, let me pull up a brighter color. I think it's hard to see, isn't it? So here, if it were to move into this zone, right before it hits that strong shear, in this zone, the shear is less than 10 knots, so that's really nothing at all. All right, so that would obviously increase the development chances, I'd say, in that zone right there. So if it were to move in that direction, as the conditions look right now, the shear does look pretty low and even has dropped by a few knots. As you can see by the blue lines, it's dropped by a few knots over the past 24 hours. All right, so let's start getting into some modeling. And actually, before I do, I'm going to pull up the sea surface temperature map so you can see it a little bit better for yourself. All right, so here you can see it better. This is the European model, the sea surface temperature, and you can see 82, right? This is slightly farther north. If we move south to where the storm is right now, 84, 85, and if you click this right here, you can see the latitude and longitude. So this, I think, is about 8 or 9. So we're pretty much, I think we're in the right zone right here. This is where the storm is kind of sitting right now, right about here. So southeast of the islands here off the coast of Africa. All right, the Cabo Verde Islands. It had to come to my mind. I was trying to remember. The Cabo Verde Islands, it's sitting southeast of there right now. So 83, 84, even 85. Usually storms come off really near, like kind of like next to or just south of Cabo Verde Islands, where right now it's near the Cabo Verde Islands. It's only in the low 70s, but then just south, it's in the 80s where the storm is right now. So that's why, like I said, it's south of where we usually see the convection go. This is usual, and then this is where the storm is down here, right? And sometimes storms that form down here usually track west towards South America, but this one has a chance to curve north. We've seen storms develop down here as well. It's not like it's very abnormal. All right, on to the modeling. Now, GFS and even all the other models you're going to see in this video, like the Canadian and the European, they don't really show too much, and that could be because the system just got recognized by the National Hurricane Center. It could be. But still, this is something to definitely watch, even if the models don't do too much with it. So GFS, and this also looks like a tiny system. Now, one thing you might know about, even though it does look large right now, it could actually condense. I know it does look pretty large. A lot of tropical waves that come off the coast of Africa, I would say pretty much, not like all of them, but most of them are actually large. And then once they start developing, they kind of condense in size into the tropical system. So that's why this could actually shrink in size, even though the storm looks big right now. Small systems, though, they can strengthen very quickly if the conditions are right, and they can weaken very quickly if the conditions are not right. So it's kind of like a toss-up here. But you can see purples and even some brighter colors up here on the vorticity scale or the vortice scale. So definitely some higher end energy here. And then the question is, how much does it hold together before or if it makes it to the Lesser Antilles? So that's going to be the main question here. And as you can see, if we continue to move on, still, I mean, we see some greens and yellows. That's not too strong. Really, may not be much left of it, but still some wind energy could make its way to the Lesser Antilles or maybe Puerto Rico down the road. But I don't want to get anybody, worried or scared or excited yet because, again, this is like, this is next Sunday. So this is pretty much almost a week out, or basically a week out. All right, so here we have the GFS model now, or still the GFS, I should say, and the sustained wind speeds. And you're going to see, we do see a surface low develop, and right there, I know it's going to be very hard to see, so I'll zoom in for you guys real quick. There is a little bit of green, very little bit of green, right where the L is. All right, and if you look over here, that's 34 knots. That is a tropical storm. So the GFS does have it becoming a tropical storm, right, by about, say, Thursday morning. Right, then it continues to move west, and then it might lose some of that wind energy. But still, I mean, 20 to 30 mile an hour winds with gusts higher than that is really no joke. And even if it heads towards the Lesser Antilles, even if it does weaken by then, still, that is still some decently strong winds that can still cause waves and rip currents. So let's look at the Canadian model now. And again, this storm we're going to have to be watching over the next few days. This is going to be a little bit more something we'll have to watch further down in the future. Now, Canadian, similar to how it handled the Invest 92L, there's a lot of energy, but it's just strung out, right? Because of the shear, it's just strung out. We don't really see it becoming whole and circular. The closest it became to being circular was like kind of like back here where it is right now. And then it kind of like strings out the energy, all right? But still, will be a couple bands of energy, maybe towards Lesser Antilles if this were to play out. This will be next Saturday, so maybe in about 5 or 6 days. All right, this will be Saturday morning. So similar to when Invest 92L might make its landfall. Canadian model, we got the sustained surface winds. All right, let's take a look at those. So really, look at this. There's really, like, you kind of like lose this system. All right, it's actually kind of right here, but really there's nothing much left of it. So we're going to be watching the wind shear. We're going to be watching the dry air. Those are two things to watch very closely because those are the two things that A, can change quickly, all right, and B, those are the two obstacles in the storms. Why? The sea surface temperatures don't change very quickly, all right, especially in this region. They might go up gradually, but they usually don't change very rapidly. So sea surface temperatures, I think, are here to stay, and if anything, they might actually get warmer. So I think sea surface temperatures were good. The other two, not so much. So let's look at the European model, and similar to the Canadian, they don't have much of this either, right? But you can see it there right now. All right, they still have it sitting there for tonight, all right? And then maybe we'll actually wait for the later model runs to come out this afternoon. Maybe they might start identifying the system a bit better. All right, so but the Canadian or the European model, excuse me, you can see the storm right here. It's got some rotation with it, but I don't think the wind strength will be too strong here. As you can see, right, let's look at some of the wind strength, and you can see this is also 5,000 feet up. May I note, by the way, tropical storm force winds at 5,000 feet. All right, but do those winds actually, come down to the surface? I think that's the question. All right, and then you can see the Lesser Antilles still could get some gusty winds, some waves, some rip currents, even some rain. So we're going to be looking. That's the main reason we're watching the system, because it could impact you guys in the Caribbean islands, the Eastern Caribbean. So we're definitely going to be watching that closely. And finally here, if we look at the NCEP ensemble-based model probability developments, 20 to 30% chance, and the ensemble model tracks, if we were to draw like a cone of uncertainty, right, pretty much in this zone right here, I would say tracking in this direction towards, I don't know why the Lesser Antilles are gone on this map, but they're right there. Then there's Puerto Rico and Hispaniola and Haiti. So we're going to be watching this very closely just for the cause of that. Again, we've seen systems in this region develop quicker than expected. I'm not saying rapid intensification, but this is something to watch very closely. We'll see how the dry air and the shear interact. And also be sure to watch my other two videos on 92L and 93L, which is now Tropical Depression 2. Thank you for watching these 3 videos for today. I am The Weather Dude, signing off. Until next time, I'll catch you guys in the next video.